Let's move into the world of factoring. Now, this concept of factoring, breaking down a polynomial and factoring it, is a very important skill for you to learn. It's important because you'll be using it so often. And we're going to go and look at various ways of factoring here in this chapter section, and that's just going to intensify as we go along. But we start off here and it says using the distributive property, but really what we're doing, and it's the first step of factoring, is trying to determine, is there a greatest common factor in the terms, in all of the terms of the polynomial that I'm dealing with. And right now here we got a binomial, and then a little bit later we see down here towards the bottom we've got a trinomial. And we're looking to determine, is there a greatest common factor? And here in this first one, I've got 15w minus 3v. Well, let's see, 15. And this is where multiplication tables become so important. Well, 15 could also be expressed as 3 times 5. 3 times 5 equals 15. And I can see that I've got a 3 here. And so we could factor out a 3. And if we do, then we've got 3 times 5w minus v. And if I were to distribute that 3 back to the 5w minus v, and well, I'd find out I'd end up with 15w minus 3v. And so we factored out the greatest common factor, which in this case is a 3. And you'll see the importance of this just a little bit later on. Now let's look at this second polynomial. It's a trinomial, and I've got 7u squared t squared plus 21ut plus ut squared. Well, I can't factor out an integer because I got 7 and 21 and just 1, that 1 ut squared. So I don't have anything to factor out there. And then I've got a u squared t squared. Well, all three of these terms have at least a u in it. And all three of these terms have t squared in it. And so we could factor out a t squared, ut squared. So let's factor out ut squared. And then that would leave us with 7u plus 21 minus 1. Or if we consolidated that, it would be ut squared times 7u plus 20, combined like terms. I think actually in your book it doesn't have this final thing at ut squared, it's just got ut. But hey, we factored out what we saw, and that's what we end up with. First step in factoring, look to see if you've got any greatest common factors of all the terms. It's got to be in all the terms of the polynomial that you're dealing with.